Alrighty, my name is Caleb Schroeder, and today I'm going to be doing my communications speech on China's modern-day communist government and how they've earned the title of being a communist nation. So, that being said, I base this off of a few hard, factually supported claims. One of them being their governmental control over their economic needs of their people. Another strong claim being that the media is heavily censored within the country's boundaries. And lastly, the social equality of their people, i.e. the working class wages, and how people are separated by their wages in their nation. That is my third reason. So, what does all this mean, you might ask? Well, in China, as opposed to the U.S., their government is the supreme law of the land. They do not have a constitution either. Instead, they have various manuscripts of different rituals that they have accumulated over their time period of their history. So today, we have a simplified word for all of that, which is just cryptography. So alongside cryptography, if we take a look back in time, as China's elders were and are to be considered the wisest of all, who have a sworn duty to preserve and pass on their knowledge to future generations. To quote an old Chinese elderly man who came to my school when I was 6 years old, he said, "We must remember the teachings of the past to pave the way for the teachings of the future." Now, looking back at this quote, it's hard for me to interpret whether he was trying to say the change was needed and was due to come, or simply that the teachings of the future were to remain the same as the old ways had. Now, it's not just the elders and the manuscripts, however, that have earned them the label of communist nation. We can point towards more evidence when we look at the blatant government censorship of the media. For years, it has easily given them the proud title of a communist nation. My brother, for example, went to South Mainland China over the summer, to which he returned from recently. He was sent to a city known as Chongqing, and I'll go ahead and I'll throw that up on the screen if you want further information. The city was known by the slang term of White China. This is what the locals called it because that's where they sent all the tourists to stay, and it was just off the mainland. It also happens, just like the mainland, that this was a mediated media. So all censorship rights that you would have in the mainland also pertained here, meaning you didn't really have any. So my brother explained to me that to contact anybody that's outside of the jurisdiction of the Chinese government, you would have to talk to them and tell them who you're contacting, and for us that would seem like a prison here in the U.S. because we only get when someone tells you that you only have a certain amount of phone calls, it usually means that you've done something to put yourself into that situation. So, but over there it's normal. So, for example, he would call us once a week, which was his deal with my mother for him to actually be able to go overseas, and he had to pay a fine, and he was informed each time that his call was being monitored by the government. So, there you go. Another reason why China is a communist nation is because of the social inhabitants of their people. Not to be mistaken at all, China is the trade capital of the world, but they also do have a very noticeable difference between a poor family and a rich family in China. It is also important to note that their government treats both poor and rich and young and old the same way. As horrible as that analogy may be, it is true. The closest thing I can relate to in the States would also be a penitentiary because you're served 3 meals a day, you are left to your own devices so long as you do not step on the toes of your superiors. Their governmental system is a very harsh system. Not to say that it's the wrong system, but it is a very harsh system on their people Some prosper and some are left behind. Much like capitalism in a way. So we are no better here in the States. So we just need to recognize that divide. In conclusion, all the above evidence has formed an arrow straight in the heart of China, proving that it is the communist nation that it claims to be to the world. Now, we've learned that their people have very separate class divides. We've learned that their history they have not deviated from their history much at all in terms of the government being firm in its actions and both taking care of the people and also hurting some of the people in its own evolution. So we've also learned that the media censorship has not changed over years in this country, and because of all this, the grip that the government has on their nation very clearly defines them as being proud, labeled communists. Thank you. Economic needs of their people.
God damn it.